The forced quarantine of nurse Casey Hickox isn't the first time public panic over contagious diseases has led to mandatory quarantines in the United States. San Francisco's Chinatown was giving a year-long quarantine order after a suspected case of the bubonic plague in the early 1900s. This black and white video shows men, most likely the health department committee, checking for disease. And then there's Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in the late 1800s. This startling historic illustration shows how a smallpox outbreak forces people into isolation hospitals. Perhaps America's most famous quarantine happened right behind me on Ellis Island. 12 million people were processed. More than 2 million would be hospitalized or quarantined. CNN's review of quarantine and isolation statutes across the country reveals that all 50 states have the power to isolate and quarantine. At least 5 states specifically detail their power to treat the sick involuntarily. At least 4 states mean business. Violating the order is a felony. Wisconsin could have the stiffest fine, $10,000. Mississippi, the longest jail sentence, 5 years.
Preemptive action is the right approach to have taken and to take now.
The governor of Connecticut isn't taking any chances. An apparently healthy family of 6 is in mandatory quarantine with friends in West Haven. Even though the family arrived from West Africa, they say they did not come into contact with Ebola, according to city officials. Some, pointing to Nigeria's aggressive monitoring strategy to stop Ebola, want tough travel restrictions. But civil libertarians say that's a step too far.
We see politicians running around with their arms in the air saying that we need to do something, anything about this threat, and putting in place, quote unquote, tough measures.
The Centers for Disease Control is not recommending mandatory quarantines for everyone traveling from West Africa.
Deeply concerned about the Ebola situation.
But a pen stroke could change that if President Obama exercises his executive power, allowing federal authorities to detain and medically examine people traveling between states or entering the country. What prevents the government from overstepping its powers?
Whenever a citizen is incarcerated or confined, you can go into court and say to a judge, I've been locked up without good cause and I want a hearing on the issue.
Nurse Casey Hickox fought back and will be quarantined at home. Others might not have that choice. Rosa Flores, CNN, New York.